Well, the way your pension works overall is that you put in money as a percentage of your income, but your employer chips in as well. And both your contributions and your employers go towards building a pension pot over time, one that's carefully invested in the stock market to make your money grow. A defined benefit scheme provides a guaranteed income at retirement, which is funded by the underlying pension scheme, come what may. A defined contribution scheme is one where your money is invested with lots of other people's money in a fund, which is then invested in various assets like shares and bonds to grow that money over time. And that's the primary way of building the retirement income you need in a defined contribution scheme. Now, the big advantage of a DB scheme is that you get that certainty so long as the pension scheme is well run and well funded, and there are lots of people involved, like trustees, to make sure that it is. And defined contribution, meanwhile, can be a lot more flexible than defined benefit because you can choose to pay in more or less than the default contribution level, depending on the stage of life you're at and your financial circumstances. You can also access and use your pension pot in any way you wish from the age of 55. And DC pensions are easier to take with you when you move to a different employer. What's more, you can also choose how your money is invested, which is really important if you want to know that your money is going towards industries and companies with strong ethics, and that you're not investing in companies that are harming the environment and society. The good news is that if you're a member of USS, you're benefiting from both types of pension scheme, both the defined benefit DB scheme and the defined contribution DC scheme. So everyone in USS gets a defined benefit pension up to the salary threshold, with the salary above that level going onto a defined contribution basis. Now that's almost unique in the private sector. So through the current mix of DC and DB pensions, USS members are getting a really good combination of certainty, flexibility, and choice. In recent years, the cost of providing a defined benefit pension in the UK has risen a lot because people are now living a lot longer. So, for instance, I looked up my life expectancy on the Office for National Statistics website earlier on. It provides you with a calculator that allows you to do that. And it told me that the average life expectancy for someone of my age and gender is 88 years old. But there is also a 10% chance that I could live to 100. Now, this is drastically longer life expectancy than was initially the case when the first ever pension was introduced in the UK in the early 20th century. So that presents a huge challenge of having to fund pensions that could last several decades as opposed to just a few years. Furthermore, this economic environment has also been very challenging with long-term low interest rates and a weak outlook for investments generally in the future. So all that does affect the ability of a defined benefit scheme to promise a certain level of income at retirement. And it's a problem that faces all defined benefit pension schemes in the UK. The average cost of funding them has gone up by around a quarter in 6 years. So as a result, many DB schemes have already closed and they are becoming much rarer for new members in the private sector. However, USS does still offer some level of defined benefit savings. So USS employers are paying in 21.1% of salary for each member. And this is far higher than other private sector schemes. The average is 13% of salary for the combined employer and employee payments. So the amount of free money that you're getting as a member of the USS scheme is unusually high. USS offers a secure monthly payment in retirement for the rest of your life, and it's a tax-free lump sum, which will really help towards things like paying off your mortgage, planning holidays, and generally giving you a nice quality of life in retirement, one that you will definitely deserve after working so hard for so many years. Now, you should also hopefully receive the state pension when you retire, but it will probably not be enough to achieve the kind of income that will make your retirement nice and comfortable. The state pension is pretty basic. It currently stands at £134.25 per week, and the state pension age is gradually going up from 65 to 68 at least, with the potential to go even higher in the future. So you definitely want to be putting some income now into your workplace pension scheme so that you have your own decent pension pot in the future, one that you should be able to access about a decade sooner than the state pension. Plus, your employer will be contributing too, and that will make up a big chunk of your pension. You also get tax relief on your contributions, and there's life cover of 3 times your annual salary to look after your loved ones in case you pass away while paying into the scheme. So it makes a lot of sense to join the pension scheme as early as possible and to continue to save to really get the benefit of the contributions that your employers will make. And this is especially important during difficult times when members might be more tempted to withdraw from the scheme. It's totally understandable to look for savings where you can, but opting out could actually be a false economy if you think about the free money towards your future that you'd otherwise be giving up. I completely understand why lots of people will feel that 9.6% of your salary is a lot of money to put into your pension. It's a sizable chunk of your salary being diverted from your take-home pay. But the decision to opt out shouldn't be taken lightly, and you really need to think about what you'd be missing out on if you opted out. Free money from your employer, tax relief from the government, generous life cover, and the chance to build that pension pot quicker and more impressively so you can enjoy the retirement income you deserve. USS is currently a one-size-fits-all scheme, so you can only be part of it if you are currently able to contribute that 9.6% of your salary. So that's why an optional short-term flexible pension payment is being considered. And that could be a really good thing for people at various stages in their lives. So it would mean that people could pay in less for a short period, but still benefit from those valuable employer contributions. Now, of course, this would not be a replacement for the main USS scheme. It would be an optional short-term alternative. And I would encourage as soon as you can to get into the main scheme and to stick with it. Well, the current opt-out rate in the USS scheme is around 20%, so that represents a lot of staff members deciding not to be a part of the scheme. And that's really concerning because even if opting out is just a temporary measure, it can have negative consequences for people later in life because they're not saving for their future for that period. And so they're missing out on money from their employers, currently 21.1% of salary towards their pensions, as well as vital stock market growth, time in the stock market to really grow their pension pot in the long term. So I'd urge university staff to think really carefully about the implications of opting out. And I think a short-term flexible alternative for USS is an option that staff and employers should give some serious thought to. Because should this flexible scheme happen, it would still be a lot better than many comparable private schemes out there. And while I think that getting into the main scheme should be the number one ambition and something you want to achieve as soon as possible, it's much better to be saving something in the flexible scheme rather than nothing at all. Any money that you can save into your pension has to be a wise investment in the future because life is a long game and you've got to make your pension comfortably last many years in retirement potentially. And the best way to do that is to start saving as early as possible and to keep saving come what may. But paying a bit less for a short period of time might give people that breathing space to do other things with their money, like save for a deposit on a first home or pay for a wedding, or perhaps in a crisis if your partner loses their job, or maybe you're at that stage in life where you're taking on more caring responsibilities. Whatever it might be, with this proposal, you would be able to keep saving and maintain that vital continuity, but then be able to return to the high contribution level in the main scheme as soon as possible, knowing that you had continued to save and put vital money aside for your future.